We've been seeing these pictures on the news of these sinkholes, and it sounds terrifying. If you live in these states, it's something you need to be aware of. So Texas, Alabama, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, obviously Florida, where a lot of the stories are coming from, you need to be aware.
So states with more limestone, and what is it, primarily limestone that's the risk?
Limestone's the big risk, because have any of you ever played with limestone?
Oh, yeah.
It's porous, it's very fragile, and I'm gonna show everyone over here what can actually happen. Because, again, limestone is one of those rocks. It's known as evaporative rock. So above ground, everything looks fine, right? You've got your nice house, your nice yard, but underneath you, you would never necessarily know. We're gonna give you some warning signs to look for, but there could be a lot of this evaporative rock. A hole has formed. Well, again, you don't know much other than maybe there's some cracks in your foundation, but then it starts raining like it does in a lot of those states. It's raining. Okay, well, we get a little respite from the rain, but then it rains again. And one night, you may be sleeping, and the next thing you know, after all that rain.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what happens. You've seen the pictures. I mean, I literally cannot imagine being asleep in my bed and then it's all gone.
I was worried about earthquakes out here. That's nothing compared to that.
And people have not been recovered from these events, so it's really serious.
With these sinkholes, let's go through some of the things people can look for, because it's subtle. You know, if you're noticing, and this is one of the simple ones, if you walk into your house and you're starting to notice the little new cracks, or maybe that door that used to shut perfectly, all of a sudden it no longer shuts. Things sometimes shift normally, but bigger changes could be a sign that you have basically this evaporative rock below your home.
You know, and you're just basically, ready to sink any minute now.
And what do you do if this happens, if you find yourself in a situation like this?
Well, if you look at that demo over there, what happens if you, God forbid, fall into a sinkhole? Well, your biggest risk is that all of that dirt and rock is going to cover your face, and you're going to die from the inability to breathe. And what you want to do is, and I mean, this is one of those things, you're not going to know what's happening, but it's much like an avalanche. You are getting covered, you are tumbling, you do whatever you can to create a little air pocket in front of your face, because that air pocket will give you enough time so that you can breathe while you're being hopefully recovered. Because you're probably, if you end up in a sinkhole, not going to be able to recover yourself.
Yeah, right, because you're buried. And I've been in an avalanche, and that snow or the dirt, it's heavy. You're not going to be able to move. But like you said, try to swim around, create an air pocket, and then make a lot of noise, because people are going to start looking for you. So if they can hone in.
And is it really terrifying? I can't even imagine. And you were in an avalanche. What does that feel like?
It felt like I got tackled by an entire football team, and it wasn't that big of an avalanche.
Really?
I think the lesson here is, if you live in one of these states or an area where you're prone to have sinkholes, just look for the signs, the subtle signs. And if, God forbid, you ever find yourself falling into a sinkhole, do whatever you can to just create a little air pocket. That could be the difference between life and death.